Good morning, and thank you very much for the invitation to speak here. There's always a little risk inviting me because sometimes I'm a little bit provocative, and maybe I can meet these expectations today. I was asked to write a paper on fintech in practice. I've done so, you can read it, so there's no need to repeat it. Instead, I would like to add a few things which are not yet in that paper. Not surprisingly, because there is such a dynamic and fast developments that, of course, always something is missing. And so since I don't have a paper which I'm presenting here, you can stop me anytime you like. I think if I can make it, I would comment on 4 aspects by telling a little bit what is going on in practice outside the Muslim sphere, because that was the task, not to talk about fintech and Islamic finance, but in general. But it has quite strong implications for fintech in Islamic finance. The 4 aspects which I would like to mention first are cryptocurrencies. I think there is a lot of misunderstanding, tremendously lot of hot air and wishful thinking. The second one is, which is underestimated in its complexity and probably not even addressed in its complexity, is artificial intelligence that can be used. And there are, I think, a lot of Sharia challenges in it. Once you give your financial decisions to systems that are changing their own roots of the game, they're learning without your input, and they are really black boxes because even the creators don't fully understand why the decisions have been made, which are superior to all what we can do by using our own brains. So that is a very exciting perspective, and I think at least I should have mentioned that. The third one would be crowdfunding. Yes, it's there. Yes, there are licenses, but it is extremely small. So probably this is not really the challenge for some banks, and in particular not in this part of the world, for reasons which some people find a little bit strange. I will come to these reasons, of course, later on. And finally, I might have time to talk a little bit about smart contracts and what smart contracts are used for. And the main usage in practice now for the underlying blockchain technology, Ethereum, is for crypto kittens, creating small virtual cats. Absolutely crazy where this development is going to. So maybe I can give you an idea what is really happening in this part. Now, coming to cryptocurrencies, the first thing is, I think it is a strong, it's a misnomer. Most of what we are seeing are by no means currencies, and they have never been invented, so to speak, to become currencies, replacing money. The only one that was invented for this purpose by a group of people who obviously were very strong in libertarian ideas to create a private money. That was Bitcoin, the original Bitcoin, but that Bitcoin most probably does not have the technical capacities to become money simply because the throughput for transactions is far too limited for replacing the alternative systems that we are using now for moving money from one place to the other. Just to give you an idea, the technical limit for Bitcoins to move what is called money from one place to another is around 7 to 10 transactions per second. Visa is operating 10,000 transactions per second. And if you are stuck with 7 or 10 transactions per second, you see you can never replace such a system such as Visa. So this Bitcoin will never work as money, in my opinion, so we don't have to worry too much about that Bitcoin as really a replacement of money. What we have to worry and think about is the underlying technology of so-called digital decentralized ledgers. Decentralized ledgers means you have a database where all transactions are recorded in a tamper-proof way. So once it is recorded, you cannot tamper with it. It's immutable. And it's not immutable because it is stored in one instance, in one central server, which can be hacked, and all the servers we know which are relevant have been hacked. Credit cards have been hacked. Well, everything has been hacked so far. The point is there's no need in hacking because all the information are freely available. It is open source. You can have a copy of this database, of this record of all transactions on your computer if you like. The point is you cannot change it because there is a very intelligent mechanism to verify transactions and also verify modifications of transactions, which is based on a cryptographic system, based on cryptographically coded keys. One is, so to speak, your digital signature, and then to verify this, there are some tasks or some techniques that are performed not by a central authority, but by a network of participants in such a digital, decentralized ledger technology that think it is worthwhile to work on this. It could be worthwhile because you are rewarded for these verifications. It could be worthwhile because of ideological reasons. And there are new techniques where you even don't need these decentralized participants, specific participants to verify because there is an even more intelligent technology doing this verification without dedicated nodes, as they are called, dedicated participants in a network. So this technology is very strong, it's very powerful if you want to transfer things from one place to another if they can be represented in a digital format. However, all these things have some, this technology, this decentralized ledger technology, which is, it was invented by the Bitcoin system, but it can be separated from the idea of creating money. It can be used for, let's say, keeping records which are tamper-proof all over the world. This in itself is a very nice application. But you can also use it to move it from one holder of these records to another holder of the same records. And so you immediately, if you can do it, have synchronized databases globally, and everybody immediately knows what has been transferred from A to B. However, there are always some technical capacity limitations, so you can come up with specialized applications running on the basic idea of distributed and decentralized databases that are optimized for different purposes. And let's say, the medium that is moving from information, digital assets, ownership in real assets, your house could be represented in digital format, and moving it over to someone else just requires a specific format, which is called token and which is called coin by some people. So what we are seeing, this mushrooming of cryptocurrencies, is many people coming up with tokens for using their new DLT, distributed ledger technology, for the specialized transfer of digital assets, of transferring money, of exchanging what have you, even crypto kitties, if you like. And you want to do it in a way where it is tamper-proof, nobody can manipulate it, and it is very transparent. Now, you have to finance your business, and the new idea, the idea of the last couple of months, I think, is to sell these tokens that you need for using these new technologies. They were never intended to be money, but investors, some investors who probably are not fully informed, are treating it as money, and the name is still coin. So ICOs, initial coin offerings, are nothing but selling off these new tokens, these new technical devices that you need for using specialized DLT systems. Whether they ever will have a value or not depends on the rest of the world taking up your idea that so many people want to transfer their home via electronic means that all of a sudden many people are demanding these tokens because they need these tokens to run on that platform because they are specialized for transferring, let's say, property, because real estate, because there are certain registration requirements, etc. But if these people don't come, the tokens are of value of 0. So you have to reach a critical mass, and in most of, probably 80% of the new crypto coin issuances, you will never reach this critical mass. Many of these things are just a white paper explaining what you have in mind and then collecting the money. It is a very new way of getting rich in a very short period of time. If you are impressed by 2-digit growth rates in Islamic finance, I can give you the growth rate of Ripple, one of these new coins, a new cryptocurrencies, if you like, of the last year. It was 36,000%. And the funny thing is, this was never intended to be an autonomous currency. It is a technique by which banks are using DLT technologies for transferring funds amongst each others, and they exactly do one thing which the inventors of cryptocurrency as money don't want to do. They close access to the system. It's a closed shop system with a central server authorizing those who can participate in it. So it is more or less the opposite of the idea of the old cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and this one has grown by 36,000%. Whether it will be a success or not is a totally different thing. The point is that it is using a different verification technology, and therefore it's very attractive. So that is what is driving these coins, not the idea to come up with new forms of money. The second thing, crowdfunding, very briefly. Crowdfunding is growing rapidly in some parts of the world. We have a few crowdfunding licenses in Islamic finance, and recently there was in a neighboring country, not so friendly neighboring country, a conference talking about also crowdfunding, and it became clear that the most established crowdfunding platform there, addressing small and medium-sized enterprises, is very small compared to the size of the overall economy, and that is a country where you have a fully digitized warehousing system, so you can do a lot of Islamic finance using these electronic formats, but it is relatively small. It's a few hundred millions in dimension compared to the billions that you need for financing that economy. So in that regard, it's not really driving conventional banks out of business. It may be an interesting outlet for, or distribution channel for Islamic banks or conventional banks to reach out to the SMEs. The SME sector has found crowdfunding cheaper and more convenient than bank financing, and therefore they are going there. However, many people say that it will not flourish for a reason which may be surprising to some people. The reason is that crowdfunding is not totally unregulated. It is to some degree regulated, and at least you must make sure that you put all the relevant information about your business and about your project on the internet. So you have to be transparent. And it has been said that entrepreneurs in certain parts of the world do not really like to be very transparent. So they prefer to go to the bank. Even that they don't like, but the banks are treating their business information confidentially, while putting it on the website, which is required for crowdfunding, is something that they never will do. And particularly those who are sufficiently large and can negotiate good terms, good conditions with banks. So therefore, crowdfunding is filling a gap, and this may in itself be worthwhile addressing, but probably it will not disrupt banks in this region. Quite interesting. The third point was artificial intelligence. I mean, we should be aware of the fact that one of the more advanced DLTs, blockchain technologies, is called Ethereum. And this Ethereum became popular because you can store more information in the coins that are used for transferring things on that platform. Storing more information means you can even combine certain instructions, so you can create more complex transfers. You can, for example, create conditional transfers. Nice example, in the future, if you are renting a car, maybe the car has an electronic lock, and if you're leasing that car private for a long term, and you have to pay regularly the leasing rates, the system will check whether the leasing rates have been paid, and it gets a signal from your bank. And as long as this system gets this signal, automatically the code is free. The moment you fail to pay an installment, the car is locked. And this is done all automatically. There is nobody asking you, calling you, whatever. It is one contract that has been coded. And when you signed the agreement, the leasing agreement, you agreed to this procedure. So information are fed into the system from outside. They are processed, and reactions on the status of on the information that have been received lead to transactions or actions. And that is the big benefit of Ethereum. But all these...
دكتور فولكر بقيت دقيقة.
1 minute? Okay. Okay. So this is all straightforward programming. And you can use it for crazy things like games, like creating crypto kittens. That means images of small cats that you can buy and sell on the platform. And the internet, the DLT technology guarantees that they are all unique. I can tell you more if you like in the question and answer session. But what goes beyond that, and what has not yet been mentioned also in my paper, is artificial intelligence that is modifying the code by itself. Based on big data learning, we now have systems that are outperforming the investment results of portfolio managers. They do it not by teaching them something or programming them in a specific way. No, just let them observe hundreds, thousands, millions, trillions, or whatever of transactions that have been taking place on the capital market, and let them learn by themselves and find out the best strategy, even a better strategy than the most experienced portfolio managers. And that is happening. It has happened. And these systems write their own code. And we don't understand how they come to their decisions. But they are better. And if you have an algorithm that provides better results than what you can do manually or mentally, then probably you will go for that algorithm, although you don't understand how this thing does it. Now, is that Sharia compliant? I'm just asking this. So we have a new form of, let's say, techniques which go far beyond what we usually have, namely that two parties meet, they agree on what exactly shall happen. If that party does this, another party does something else, and that are the consequences. We have systems that are learning by their own actions, that are modifying their own rules of the game, and they come up with superior results. So I think that were more or less the points which I wanted to mention. So thank you very much for your attention, and I'm, of course, ready to take some questions.